Welcome back to Infamously Speaking, episode 317. I'm lying, but St. Patrick's Day is today. Well, not really today, but when you're listening to it, it'll be St. Patrick's Day. I'm Matt Rosa, tuned in with my guy Quan. Look at that. Got the Larry Bird jersey on.
Got the bird jersey, got the clover hat, got the
gold clover too.
Got the filthy hooligans Celtic cigars. Got the St. Pat. I've been waiting to open this, bro. It's the St. Patrick's Kentucky Owl. Got the bourbon. I'm ready to have a conversation with my boy, man. I look forward to these every week. It's funny though, because sometimes I might not seem like it, because Matt's like, "Oh, he fell asleep," which I did. But I do get excited, and I enjoy watching the episodes back, because I know that there were some pretty funny moments, right? Like last week's episode.
Oh, last week's episode. That was one for the books. That was one for the history books.
You mentioned your mom had a reaction to it.
My mom did.
Yeah, that's
listen,
hilarious.
I can't tell too much, because if you haven't listened, you got to go back and listen. You could also check out Infamously Speaking on Instagram at Infamously Speaking, also on TikTok at Infamously Speaking, to go see that clip. All I'm saying, you're going to fight the duck, you're going to fight the horses. I'll leave it at that. But before we get too far into the show, please like, subscribe, leave a comment wherever you are listening to the podcast. On YouTube, if you're watching it. Personally, I think that's the best place to go ahead and tune into the pod. You get the visuals, you get our actual reactions. You can see us fucking laughing when we're talking about getting gummed down by ducks. So I encourage you, subscribe to the pod on YouTube. You're going to love it. But you can also catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you like to get your podcasts. Like, share, subscribe, do all the good things. It's going to make your day better, our days better than anyone else you share with.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. We're getting the views. We just need some engagement. Let's talk about it.
Everybody says they're about it, and so it's time to be about it.
Everybody got an opinion. Everybody got something to say. Then I'd be like, all right, well, we got the platform.
Here's a link.
The day of is, I'm not feeling well. Or,
today?
Oh, it's St. Patty's Day. I'm going to have an Irish car bomb. Oh, I'm going to rewatch Conor McGregor fights and drink proper 12. Like, come on, man.
Ridiculous. Come on,
We're
man.
We're here.
Consistent, too. Listen, we haven't missed a show this year. That's just how good we are. Now, in honor of our incredible segment last week, kicking off the show, people loved it. I loved it. Like you said, my mom had a reaction, which I thought was incredible, because my mom usually was like, I don't like to hear my sons talking like that, right? So my brother streams video games. She doesn't watch it because of sometimes the expletives that come from his mouth. Like, I couldn't have raised him, right? And so that's part of the reason why she doesn't typically listen to the pod. But I was FaceTiming with them, and they were like, I was like, listen, you got to check out the pod, because I was FaceTiming, my brothers were on the call too. And my older brother brought up, he's like, yo, what y'all was talking about the duck and the horses, that shit was crazy. And my parents were like, what are you talking about? So I sent them the clip, and they're playing it through, and I hear it on the FaceTime as they're playing it. And when that shit comes up about getting gummed down, everybody just started breaking out laughing. So again, go watch it. It's on YouTube. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Spotify. You're going to trust me. You can thank me now. So, new segment, infamous intro. Just try to start the show off with a couple laughs.
The infamous intro. Let's go.
The infamous intro. So, question for you. Let's keep it animal related. Okay?
Animal related.
This
guy's into bestiality.
Hell no. If you had to describe yourself as an animal, what would it be and why?
This is easy. This is
like where you're going already.
Question at a meeting. Wow. First off, where do you think I'm going?
It's gonna be like a horse, some shit, old Western, Yellowstone type shit.
No, it's not.
Maybe like a bull.
It's a panda.
Why?
Noah always called me like her panda. A little chubby.
She's racist.
She's a little, the Asian ethnicity in the pandas. I haven't been sleeping well, so I have dark eyes, but they're cute. They're cuddly. They're not mean, right? Just a panda. They kind of just go about their day.
That's the
easy for me.
disqualifier right there. Then not
What?
angry. I'm not
I've
gonna.
been good.
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna
I told
gauge
you
you
what
on
I've been
on the
doing.
cuteness scale like that. That's not. I'm gonna stay in my lane. So
Yeah. So listen, I've been really good. So we'll stay there.
all right. I'm curious how many people that know you would agree with that.
So I've always been. So I don't know if you've seen us. Like, Nove drew a picture of me playing the game, and there was a panda. Like, she portrayed me as a panda. I don't know. It's always been pandas. Could be the Asian thing. I don't know.
It could be.
I should ask her.
I think people are trying to like just like undercover discriminate a little bit. But
So
that's
I was
okay.
So check this out. I was at a meeting one time, and that was the icebreaker question. Like, if you could be an animal that represents you, what would it be? Somebody was like a wolverine. Someone was like a wolf because I'm a leader of the pack. I'm like, I'll be a panda. He was like, Quan, you realize a panda is one of the dumbest animals in the world? I was like, dude, I guess so.
Listen,
I'm an anomaly.
You know what they say, bro? When you live life simple, good things come.
Yeah.
Smarter you are, the more problems you got.
I'm a simple man.
That's it. Keep it simple. So in that short time you were talking, I was thinking about, I was like, man, should I go with a tough animal like eagle? You know what I mean? Wolf, shark. And you know what? I think if I had to pick one animal, it would probably be a turtle.
A turtle.
Like turtles just go with the flow, bro. They just go with the flow. Like in every movie, I'm thinking like the turtle from Finding Nemo. Like the dad turtle, that's like, oh, that's all like chill and cool. But like his son is mad energetic. Like that's what I'm thinking of. I'm like, because you know what? It's funny. I was FaceTime with my parents, and my wife was saying something. I forgot what it was about, but it was something about like it was like a bill, or we were talking about my student loans because I just thought I started paying back, and I was like, it's whatever. Like things cost what they cost. I gotta pay it back. Whatever. It is what it is, right? You make money to spend money. You don't make money to save it. And she was like, "You're so mad." It's like, "You're just so mad." I'm like, "What the fuck does that even mean?" And my mom was like, "I get it. You're just so you. Just like chill, relax. Nothing really bothers you. You kind of just go with the flow." And I was like, you know what? I can agree with that. And I feel like that turtle, like because in the movie, they were just like riding that stream. I'm not sure if you remember that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you watched it a bunch because it came out when Nova's young.
Yeah,
they were just riding that stream. But his son's energetic as fuck. And those are my kids.
Yeah.
And he's just chill. So I think that's what it would be. That turtle from Finding Nemo.
I like that.
Just chill.
I thought you was talking about like Franklin at first.
No, Franklin. Yo, you ever seen the Franklin episode where he fakes an injury to get Percocet?
No. What? What? Is that a real thing?
I gotta send it to you.
This guy is wild, man. Sometimes you surprise the shit out of me with some of the things you say or watch or come across. Oh,
you don't remember that one, huh? Okay.
Nah, I didn't really watch Franklin like that.
Everyone has a dark side.
Yeah. When I think of turtles, I think of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No, I don't got enough energy for that.
Like Michelangelo. Like if you was if you was one of those turtles, which one would it be?
I would say the orange one. I forget what his name is. The one that's like all chill and shit.
That'd be Michelangelo.
But he's kind of sus.
He's the funny one.
Yeah, but he's kind of sus.
I fuck with Mike. What do you mean?
He just says some weird shit that I can't really get down with. Like I'm gonna I'm gonna gulp this entire pizza, some stuff like that. I can't really get down with that. Yo, you know what's crazy though? So have you ever watched on YouTube? There's like these insider shits where like these people like go around and like they tour cities in search of like the best slice of pizza in New York or the best.
I watch all that shit.
So there's this.
I don't know if it's a specific one you're talking about, but
I think it's called like Food Insider or whatever. No one was watching it, and there was in Chicago trying to find like the best bite. And Chicago's famous for the deep dish, for some kind of sandwich with jardinara or whatever. But then also hot dogs. Chicago hot dog is like a big thing. So she's watching. It's this American dude and this English dude, and the American dude is trying to explain what glizzy means, right? because the British dude doesn't get it.
Yeah.
And so whatever, they're going back and forth, whatever. Some wild fucking rigmarole. And then out of nowhere, the English guy's like, "Well, I'm ready to gulp some more glizzies."
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did. I'm like, this is it. I'm like, you cannot use words like that. You're gonna gulp some more glizzy.
The fact that the fact that you got closer in your chair and said this is it was a little concerning about where this was going. But
listen, I'm be honest. I enjoy a good hot dog. I mean, listen, we can be grown adults and say that, but I'm not. You cannot say I'm gonna go gulp some glizzies.
Yeah, that's wild.
There's just some things that are unacceptable.
And he didn't know any better, though. You said
that I get it, ignorance, but there's some things that where they're like, you just can't say. It doesn't matter if you get it, you don't. Those words should never be combined. The glizzy gulper.
Can you imagine someone who's like so prideful or like so ashamed of what they want that they don't? For example, right? Because I know this has happened where someone probably went to a cookout and there's this freshly grilled glizzies, and nobody wants to eat them because they're too concerned about what someone's gonna say or think.
Wow, you should like perfect char on it. It's glistening a little bit.
Fucking the buns toasted in the grill like to perfection, golden brown.
They just cracked open a fresh bottle of ketchup and mustard. Oh, they got the grilled onions. Yeah, I don't give a shit, bro. Put the pride aside.
No,
go have a glizzy. Like, you don't gotta be like Joey Chestnut. You know what I'm saying? You gotta eat 84 of them in 10 minutes. But you can be like, yo, let me get a hot dog. I mean, just don't go up there and like, don't be sus about it. Like, cause that's what makes it even weird. Like, you try to be like sneak getting the glizzy. Like, what are you doing? Weird. Yeah, like, why are you trying to hide it? That makes me think you're trying to do more than just eat the glizzy. Like, what are you trying to do with it?
Yeah, summertime's coming right around the corner.
That's what I thought make you think of summertime.
Well, yeah, because you're cooking out and grilling.
You be cooking out?
How are you thinking? Huh?
You got any good cookout memories? I mean, St. Patrick's Day right around. Fuck the cookout memories. It's still cold outside.
Yeah, let's talk about St. Patty's Day, man.
St. Patty's Day on Monday. Damn, you got any good memories? St. Patrick's Day?
I have a lot of good memories. Where do I start? I remember my cousin. Shout out to my cousin, rest in peace, Chad. I call him Chad. Changed his name to Rico, but anyways, he put me onto the car bomb shit. He did before I was drinking, and he was like, "Quan, try this shit." And not only did I get lit, but I had fucking tons of energy. Cause the Monster drink or something he used, I don't fucking know, but yeah, it changed my life because I never stopped drinking since that day.
Shout out to great influences. Cheers. Chad, aka Rico. Might just get hit with the Rico. So
he died from alcohol poisoning.
Well,
we gotta edit that part out. But that's how he died, bro. That shit's crazy. Now I think about it.
Oh, you being serious?
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, listen.
We'll edit that part out.
Sometimes you gotta learn a lesson.
The crazy shit is he got put into a coma.
Wow.
And they gave him like a 15% chance of living because his liver or some shit. They wanted to pull the plug. But his dad was in the military, so he had like good insurance and shit. And they said he only had 15% because he was only like 30. He was like 30 years old, so he was young. He ended up surviving, but he was like you could tell it affected his body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then he stayed sober for like a year and a half, and then he ended up drinking them, and they found him dead in Vegas in a hotel.
So I do want to do another toast because St. Patrick's Day is actually my brother's birthday. My oldest brother. How old did he turn this year? My dad he's 10 years younger than my dad, so that's gonna be. So he's turning 44 this year. I know it's crazy. Just so I could explain that.
Your older brother's older than me?
Yeah, so not.
Oh, you're older. Oh, I got
my oldest brother. So for those people oh, he's only 10 years younger than my dad. No, my dad did not have a child when he was 10. Okay, I know teenage pregnancy is common, but 10 is not even teenage. So let's not go crazy. I was about to wild out, but I reined it in. Just like you ran in those horses. So he's actually It's actually my cousin, but my parents adopted him. Some stuff happened, and my parents adopted him. Yeah, he's turning 44, and I'll be honest with you, like, obviously there's a big age gap between us, but I still stay in contact with him. We probably talk at least once a month, and I mean, he moved out when I was young, but part of the reason why I love sports so much, he's the only brother or sibling that I have that's really into sports. And so, obviously my dad's a big reason why I love sports so much, but he's a huge Knicks fan, the Yankees. Like every time something big happens, a trade, we win a big series or whatever, he's one of the first people I talk to. So whenever St. Patrick's Day rolls around, I think of my older brother Joe. So one more for you, my guy.
Oh, you just made me take 3 shots.
Hey, you said it's a celebration. So I don't really have any St. Patrick's Day memories really because it was always his birthday. So it usually just be calling him, wishing him a happy birthday. And yeah, that's really it. So
yeah, so
special day.
Me being, I do want to do that 23-and-1 or whatever it's called.
23andMe?
23andMe.
The DNA shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yo, be careful with that.
Why?
Well, you already found your siblings, but so somebody one of my previous leaders did it, and he found his family because he was adopted, and he found his family he never knew he had. Ended up working all well, but you might find out something maybe you don't want to find out. So,
like what?
I don't know. Maybe you got another kid for all you know.
Who got another kid? My dad?
You. Maybe you got like 4 of them.
Impossible. But let's just say
you said that shit with so much confidence.
That's impossible.
He's like, plan B is really plan A.
Well, no, I have I know I have Irish in me. Like my great grandmother is Irish.
On your mom's side?
My mom's side. And people always be like, Quan, why do you have orange hair? Because it looks orange like in the sun. But it's my Irish roots. Like it goes in my mustache and in my beard. And you can see it big time in the summertime. But it makes sense. Like,
So what are you trying to promote here? Like you going to Ireland and gonna be wild promiscuous?
I would love to go to Ireland. What does promiscuous and all this have to do? Do you want to? I feel like you want to see me have another child.
No, like you said no because you was talking about slinging DNA all over the place.
No, I wasn't. That's funny though. That's funny. Nah. So
also, you mentioned about that. Man, it'd be great. Every time I see you, when I got the kids, like man, I wish I.
I do. Nona doesn't help that she puts all these cute pictures of other boys. Like, damn, man.
It's
at what age is too old to have a kid though?
Never, bro. I think it's just you got to weigh if you're okay with it.
I'm okay with it.
That's literally all that matters. I mean, at least in my opinion, like I know that I personally didn't want to be like we looked at it like this. Like by the time Ezekiel's 18, he's our youngest, he's 2. So that's 16 years from now. In 16 years, I'll be 44. Now, I'm not saying once they're 18, they got to get the fuck out of my house because that's not true. As long as they're working and or going to school, they got a place in my house. But but they're gonna be pretty much they can self-sustain themselves, right? They don't need mom and dad all the time to do stuff for them. So in my mid-40s, we'll be, free to go to do whatever the fuck we want. And I'm like, that's perfect. Grind now, enjoy later. It was kind of the mindset for us. But some people are like, nah, enjoy now, have the kids later, and then you get to enjoy a little bit more even later. I think as long as you're okay with it, fuck it, man. I mean, I have a sister who's close to 40, and she got kids younger than my kids. So
yeah,
it's just about what you're okay with.
I thought about that question because it's like time frames and all that shit going on.
But I do think it's funny that Nona posts these cute videos and like at kind of spark something, because for me that's a fucking repellent. I'm like, yo, I'm
No, because
happy.
you're seeing the videos after the picture's taken or before where they'll open up in a cabinet and all the fucking animal crackers come crashing
Right.
down. Yeah.
Also, that's another plug for last week's episode.
Oh, so yeah, I'm seeing the cute stuff. You're seeing the behind the scenes things.
I know all that
so I
it
get
entails.
It. Yeah, man. St. Patty's Day. I used to turn up. I used to always turn up on St. Patty's Day. I feel like that was like the day of just getting lit. But that back then though, I was outside partying too much anyway, so that was just another excuse.
Do you think it was too much though? I mean, looking back.
Yeah.
But
easily.
Would you if you could go back, would you do anything different? Like, know what you know now.
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
I spent too much time partying where I could have been doing something more productive. I spent too much money. I could have been
the money
saving,
piece, probably.
was putting away for something more important. I don't live with many regrets. There is things that I do regret, but I mean, at that point, it is what it is. It's almost like if I was to draw back, yeah, I would do it. I would do it because there's nothing like that happened that was so impactful on my life for that. You know what I mean? At least in a positive state. Okay, cool. I got fucking shit faced and so lit. I don't remember the next day. Well, at that point, it's definitely not memorable. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, yeah, I had some pretty hard times. I wouldn't say hard times. I would say it was like just party hard.
Party hard. Well, it's funny you say, because I think back to like 2019 in general. Like,
was that
your crib, Tone's crib? We had this shit locked down to a science. Like, yo, you open? Are you open? You getting the bottles. You close? You start cutting. You throw something in the crock pot. You get something in the oven cooking on low. Because we come 10:30 is game time.
That's crazy. That's
like,
crazy.
You know what though? I remember so many of those nights so vividly.
Yeah, like I remember. I think the worst time I ever been like intoxicated. That had to be the worst time when you was there. We'll save that story for another time. But
yeah, let's save that.
That was, and I remember that vividly.
But what I want to go back to that is like some of those nights, bro. Like some of those conversations, because it was never like we was. I mean, there were times where we were just fucking done. Like the time we was watching One Bite Pizza reviews till like 4 a.m. just in tears. But
shout out to Dave Portnoy.
Yeah, that shit was legendary. But like so many of those conversations that we had, and I'm not sure if it was the same for everybody, but like some of the conversations were so real, and it was because number one, we already everybody fuck with each other. Obviously, like you having people in your home, and no one there took that shit lightly. Everybody understood what that meant. There was always that respect, but like, you know, when you just chilling and having a couple of drinks, like the barriers just came down. All those conversations were so real. Like everybody was so open, and I shout out my parents for this all the time. But like everybody was so open to be like, "Yo, this is where I fucked up, man. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have did this. I should have did it this way." And like, so I know you talked about the moments that you was getting fucked up, like. But in those moments when we was having, like, when we was getting fried, different. It was like different. It was educational because there was so much game. There was so much game. Like the alcohol we wasn't drinking to get fucked up. You know what I mean? We was drinking like casually. And now, granted, we would smack a couple bottles, but it was just like let's keep the conversation flowing type of shit. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. And I'm not saying those nights. I'm talking about the nights from prior to that when I was going out. And I'd be out at the bars and like shit like that. It was fun because there was a lot of times where I had some good memories with good friends, good people. I don't take back that. It's just more about like I think it just comes with the age and the wisdom of like we could have been doing something productive and still had a good time. At that point though, I think it's like, you know, we're young, we're getting out. Like it's funny. I'll give you an example. The other night was my man Ricky's birthday. Happy birthday, Rick, man. So
happy birthday.
That's my brother, right? So I fuck with Ricky heavy. Ricky invited me out, but he didn't want to do anything crazy. Like he just wanted to go to like some little low key bar, have one drink, and just call it a day. And respectfully, Ricky showed me love on my birthday. And even if he didn't, I still would have popped out. But so I was like, I just had to make it a thing, right? So I meet him at this bar, me and Ori and Tuto, and the bar had like karaoke going. And the people participating were not good to say the least, right? Like I'm not a good karaoke singer, but I think I could have held my own in that room. So, but it's funny because now Ricky's like, man, I just want to listen to some music and just sit back. It was the night of the Celtics Lakers game actually, and he's a huge Celtics fan. So he's like, let's get out of here. And it's funny because shout out to Ori because Ori's like, nah, this don't bother me like it used to or like it would have. Because I remember back in the day, if the shit looked empty or like it wasn't popping, we out. We go to the next spot. Go to the next spot. So he didn't really care, but that shows some growth on his end, right? And like just like, you know, it is what it is. So we went to this other bar and we had a drink, and they had they had one of them basketball things for competition. I ain't gonna lie, I was trash. Wow. I was tired from just shooting.
Nah, you trash. Anyways, we go to Boston and you was cooking up, but then you go over there and you was...
In Boston, I was nasty, right? So, anyways, while we was having this drink, sitting at the bar watching the game, I literally turned to Ricky. I said, "Yo, thank you, bro." He's like, "For what?" I was like, "Thank you for not wanting to actually like go out and do shit. This is perfect. Little low key, little quick drink. Boom. I go home, call it a night." And that's what I did. They actually they ended up wanting to go downtown, real quick, just for another drink. And I was like, yeah, one and done for me, guys. I'm out of here. I went home, chill with Scooby, and that was it.
Growth, bro.
I'm a simple man.
Growth. You know what's
you
actually
ever heard
funny?
that song, "A Simple Man" by I forgot who sings it. My mom dedicated it to me though.
No, probably not.
I gotta send you the link for that.
Well, you know what's funny is, so I was talking to Nona the other day, and because we talked about it, right? I've been at where we work for 10 years, which means we've known each other for 10 years, and so Nona asked me like, what? She's like, what does Quan do? Like, what does he do? Honestly, like he goes to, I know he works a lot, but like outside of work, what does he do? I was like, it's a good question. Not much really. She's like, why does he? Because she's like, where is he from? I was like, oh, he's from New London. She's like, why does he live in Norwich? And I was like, because obviously Norwich is the better city. Number one, obviously everybody knows that, right? They don't make maps like this for New London. But in all honesty, I was like, I mean, just it's quiet where he lives. He just wants to go. He wants to chill. It's simple. I remember when I first met him, things were much different, right? Things were much different. Everything that was happening was much, much different. I was like, there's been a lot of growth in that span that we've known each other. I mean, decades a long time. I mean, for both of us, obviously. I was a young kid that didn't really know much about nothing. Now I'm just a older kid with kids that doesn't know much about anything. But I told her, and I was thinking back, I'm like, damn, you know what? Like, there's so much, bro. Like, between that moment, March of 2015, to now March of 2025, the amount of blessings and growth and just maturity, wisdom has been incredible.
No, for sure.
Incredible.
For sure. And it's funny, right? Because in the world we live in, we see, in the space we work in too, we see so many individuals come and go, and you just come across. So it's funny because there's a young kid that reminds me so much of you. It's not even funny. When you first got there, not now, but like when you first got to the location and he's just so young, so naive, so green. I'll talk about to the point where I was like, yo, you're like wet behind the ears. He had no idea what that meant. It was like,
I mean, listen, I know what that means. I know what that. I got enough grays in my beard to know what that means.
Yeah, so it was like he just reminds me of you, right? And you just come across people and you try to spread that information or that knowledge that we've had throughout these last 10 years to other people. And I think that's another reason why we do this, right? Obviously we do it because we love it and we enjoy shooting the shit with each other and talking sports and all that good stuff. But we always talked about making a difference on this platform. And I think that's another reason why so much has changed, because it was really strictly sports, and then it just evolved into what it evolved into because of how we evolved as people.
Right.
So naturally, it kind of just went along with the show. Yeah, it's a blessing. It's funny that Nona thought that, though. Now I feel like, damn, I gotta do something. Like,
nah, man, you chilling. I told him, like, he's reached a point where I think when we are where you are in life, we'd probably want some similar things where it's just like we chill, you know, our kids are doing well in school.
yeah.
And like that's what we want. So
Yeah.
but it is really incredible. I mean, number one, how fast 10 years could fly by. But two, just sometimes, I mean, I think I mentioned on the show before, like how overwhelming some of that stuff could be, where it's like I remember how I felt 10 years ago. And it was like, number one, I was overwhelmed because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
I was just about to ask, was you overwhelmed? I literally was about to ask.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I was overwhelmed. Number one, it was my first real job. But two, like that moment where like when you're done with high school and you're like, oh shit. Like there's no structure anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, bro. From every kind of perspective, I was like, yo, what the fuck am I doing? Like, yeah, part time. I think this is what I want in my life, and then, yeah, super overwhelmed, man. But then, thankfully, I had a mentor. You were a great mentor to be like, yo, it's really not as difficult. It's only as difficult as you make it, right?
Yeah.
It's only as difficult as you make it.
I remember. I do remember this, and I said I feel like he's overwhelmed with the situation.
I was very
so I was like, let me reassure him. It's not, everything is gonna be all right. It's not difficult, and he'll get through this. And then that's kind of like where it went from there. And things happen for a reason, and God puts people in people's paths for a reason. So I'm definitely grateful for having you as a friend and who I consider a brother, because
yes, sir.
You've taught me a lot. And that's why I try to tell people all the time. We just had this conversation. Who was I with? But it's like, it doesn't matter how old someone is or how young someone is or their tenure at a location, at a job, or you could always learn something from someone if you want to be, if you're open to it. Which actually,
wisdom.
I talked to you the other night, right? And I mentioned this theory to you, and it was the red. Oh, I didn't mention it. I said I'll save it for the show, and it was called the red car theory. Did you ever hear of that?
Nah.
All right, so I might fuck this up a little bit because I watched it one time, and it resonated with me. And as soon as I did, I started thinking of the show and like bringing it up on the show. Did you pull it up?
I did.
Did you want to? You could. So I don't mess it up because, like I said, I only seen it once. You can just read it if you want.
Got you. So the red car theory is a metaphor highlighting how once you focus on something specific, you become more attuned to noticing it, even if it's always been present. So just to give like an example, it's like whenever you get a new car and you're like, damn, everybody has this fucking car.
Yeah,
Before you're like, yo, I'm gonna have this shit. This is exclusive. No one has it. I felt that when I got my Lexus. I'm like, yo, no one got this shit. And then all I see, I'm like, damn, I noticed every single Lexus IS300 F Sport that drove by.
So this is how the video went, right? So if I was like, Matt, did you go out today at all, or was you always in the house?
I was in the house.
All right, so let's say when you went to Bellevue, how many red cars did you see?
Fuck, man, I couldn't tell you. Probably a bunch, but I wouldn't know. I wasn't paying attention to it.
All right, so if I said, Matt, I'll give you $50 for every red car you see, do you think you would know?
I'm locked in.
You're locked in, right?
I'm locked in.
No, right, exactly. So it's almost like, and this is where it resonated with me. It's the same with opportunities. Opportunities are going by you left and right if you're not paying attention and locked in to look for that opportunity.
Wow.
And that's what I wanted to share, because we know we get caught up in the life. We get caught up, and shout out to you, because you locked me in with someone to potentially unlock more opportunities for me. And I appreciate you for that. And I seen the video that night, last night. And it just goes to show, like, and this is what I want to tell the people who's listening, if that's what you want, right? And you say you want to do better or you want something more, you gotta be open to looking for those opportunities. Because they're there. You know what I'm saying? They're there. They're all around you. There's opportunities all around you as we speak.
That's crazy. Because I think that's such a great point. I think that's such a fantastic point. Because I think just thinking about my own experiences in my own career is, so for how long was it? Like 6 years or so, I didn't really take networking seriously until like the beginning of 2021. That's when I was on a call and I have completed this career program, this career development program, but it was during COVID year, so we didn't get to do all the cool shit that you normally get to do with all the shadowing, all the mentorship, all that stuff. But I remember somebody was like, yeah, listen, they shared something. It was like, it's not about, he was like, who's going to advocate for you? Who knows you? Not you, the person who does X job. Not you, the high performer. No. Who knows you, the person? Who knows Matt Rosa, the person? Who would advocate for you because they know who you are? They know what you stand for. They know your ethic, your character. They know your brand. They feel comfortable and confident and encouraged to advocate for you. Who? Who outside of your four walls, who outside of your district, your market knows you? Not for your performance, not for the accolades and awards. Everybody has accolades and awards. Everybody has that. What makes you different is who you are. Who knows you? Yeah. And I never thought about that. And that's an area of opportunity. So I'm gonna relentlessly go after this shit.
Yeah.
I want to change my situation. And that's how I got to where I am. Oh, first and foremost, glory to God. That's why I am where I am. He opened doors for me. That's a great shit that you pointed out. Is like, you have no idea how many. I could have had those conversations. If I had those conversations 2 years before, I'd probably be 2 years further into my growth and development. But I didn't even know to have those conversations, like you said, because I wasn't aware. I didn't even think about it. There's so many red cars. And I wasn't paying attention to it.
Yeah, that was good, right? I knew he was gonna like that. That's why I wanted to bring it up. And I specifically waited because I knew that your reaction and response would have been warranted and wanted to be viewed. Hopefully those who are listening, they understand what we're saying, and they keep their eyes open for those opportunities, because that's the one thing you don't want to pass up, is an opportunity for yourself to either grow or get into a position where you can be successful and not dread where you are in the moment. So,
well, I challenge people now, right now. Everybody that's listening, I challenge you to think about this. That whole red car shit, right? Is what opportunities right now exist? Whatever you want to go after, whether it's career advancement, or you like your career, you just want to make more money, or maybe you wanted to start a side hustle or some shit for your kids or for a project for your house. What opportunities exist that you just simply don't know about because you haven't focused on it?
Correct.
And this is a great place to start, no matter where you are, is what's your brand? What's your brand?
Define that for someone. From you and I, that's an easy thing to speak upon. But if you ask the average person, they probably don't understand fully what you mean by that.
So here's the way I like to think about it. Your character is what you know to be true about yourself. How you show up. You know how you show up. It's internal. You
You
define
gotta
your
be,
character.
and you guys have to be honest with yourself when you're doing this.
Honest, right? Your brand is what others think about you. That's what your brand is. That's what when people think of Quan, they think of what? They think about strong leadership, dependable, honest, probably asshole. Be frank with you, right? When people think
Irish?
about Irish, I don't think that, but okay.
Yeah, you got
It's just
sidetracked like crazy.
it's what other people think of you. It's what other people, when they think of you, what adjectives do they
Do you show
associate
up
with you?
late? Do you show up with positivity, or are you
Right?
negative? Shit
Are
like
you
that.
accountable?
Yes. So
All that shit.
all that shit means something, even if you don't realize it. Because a lot of people don't realize that,
No clue.
unfortunately. And that's something I talk a lot about during like leadership activities and stuff. Like, yo, understand you have a brand. You go to a meeting with
Exactly.
you go to a meeting without able to take notes and all that stuff. Like, that's recognizable. Where you sit
Fact.
is recognizable.
Hell
Now,
yeah.
does it mean a whole lot? Maybe not overall, but it can, because if you're sitting in the back as opposed to the front, what is that telling me in that moment?
You want to be disengaged?
Disengaged, maybe too timid to be in the forefront, stuff like that. And you could prove me otherwise, right? Because maybe you just wanted to sit in the back because it's cooler back there. I don't fucking know, but if you're raising your hand and answering a lot of the questions, then you're engaged, and it
Right.
takes away that perception of where you sat at that point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of reason people don't understand or know what their brand is, to your point, that red card theory. You're not aware of it. And you're
Mm.
also not aware of other people's brands. And I think that's another thing. Right? Because if you're not thinking about it, you're not thinking about like people that you interact with or people that you work with. Take a moment. I'm not saying to judge people, but when you think of somebody, what are some of the things, if you had to describe them in a couple of words, what words would you pick? And that will tell you what their brand is. Period. And so if you're like, yo, I want to be like that person, then you should model your brand to be something similar to that person. What are those core traits? And if you don't want to be like somebody, you're like, what are those traits that maybe I want to avoid? So I think that's why a lot of people don't understand like how important that is, because that's why people will advocate for you.
Yeah.
Is because of your brand. They're not going to
Right.
advocate because you were successful, because you being successful in one role does not automatically equate to you being successful in another role. We talk about this all the time. Is because I'm successful in selling does not mean you're going to be successful in leading a team of people who sell.
Correct.
Does not equate. They might
Mm-hmm.
respect you more because you were in their shoes and you got the clout, but that respect's quickly gonna fade if you can't help them get to a level where you were at, or help even supersede that level where you were at. That's why people look to you. It's not because they want to be in awe of your greatness. It's because they want to get to the level you were at, because they want to make that money. They want to get the promotion that you got. They want the awards that you got. They want to be looked at as next up like you were.
And like I said, you gotta be honest. A lot of people cover up things that they're ashamed of, or feel like they're not progressing in, or they feel like it might be hindering them. But you gotta address that, because if you don't, that's not how you're gonna grow. Right? If you're always focused on the positive things and what you got going on, how are you gonna work on some of the things that are opportunities? Because you're too focused on what you're saying, or you're covering it up by saying,
Right.
"Oh, I do get there a little late, but when I get there, I work really hard." Well, what happens if you get there a little bit earlier and still put in the same hard work? You get more.
Fact.
You get more progress.
Fact.
It's just one of those things, man. I do love it. I love self-assessing myself and what I want to do in my career and life in general. Is like, it really, my motivation really does come from helping others grow and become successful, and really tapping into their potential, to seeing where they can blossom.
Right.
It's just one of those things. Like, it happened recently where I know I made an impact with a specific team and individual, based off the feedback that they gave me, and just hearing that alone was great. I shared something with you that someone wrote up about me, which is funny that I think it was you that thought that I wrote it, right?
Yeah, because I
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't see your name in the first
yeah,
line.
yeah. You wasn't the only one, because I shared that with just a select few people, and it was very well written about me, and it said a lot of highly, like a lot of, held me in high regards to a lot of good stuff, right? And to be honest, because I respect that leader so much, and I hold that person in a high regard, it meant that much more to me, right? It probably, it did. It's not even probably. It meant more to me than an award or a gift or some money, because to me that was invaluable to know that that's what that person thinks about me and what
Right.
I bring to the table. So, like,
Well, why did you respect? Why did you hold? Why do you hold that person in such high regard, though?
because of his brand.
Because you know their brand.
His brand.
Wow.
There we go.
You know his
Why do we
brand.
do?
I mean,
Why do we do this? Why do we do this?
we do it because we
We should
want
have like
people.
I feel like we should have a good morning show, a good afternoon show, late night special like Ocho and Shannon.
Listen, man, I'm all for the content. I also, let me tell you straight and foremost why we do this. It's because too many times in our community, what we do is when people get successful, we say, I figured out, you figured out on your own. What's the point in that? Imagine if people who discovered how fucking temperature works was like, I figured it out, you figured it out on your own.
Yeah.
Like, they spent a whole lifetime learning that shit. And you get the chance to learn it in 5 minutes, 10 minutes in school. You know what I mean? That makes no sense. It makes
you know
zero
what?
sense.
I think the reason why we come across so well amongst people when we do the show, or when we have conversations with them in person, over the phone, whatever, is because it really comes from a genuine place, right? Like, we're not doing it for the sake of, oh, we want to be recognized as these fucking two motivational speakers. In fact, I probably never looked at it like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I enjoy having real conversations with you, and it brings me gratitude knowing that we could possibly uh, affect and make an impact on somebody who's paying attention, right? So,
Factual.
when we talked about that, even when we first started, like, yo, if we could make an impact on one person, just one,
That's it.
we're good to
That's
go.
it. That's all that matters. Like, I used the analogy a bunch of times. Shout out to my dad for doing this. Like, if we can help somebody get to the board, the Monopoly game quicker, then that's what it was about.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's what it was about. If
yeah,
you can get to the game while they still got houses and not hotels on the spots, shit was better than us.
yeah, yeah,
Like, that's what we want. That's all that we
yeah.
want. We're not.
Yo, I got a
We
question
hope
for you.
you're more successful than we are. I still hope. That's what we want, bro. That's
What do
what we
you?
want.
I got a good question for you. This came up in my world recently. What does a conversation look like, or how do you feel when like someone is so pessimistic and just so negative about something, and it's not just showing it with actions, but he's even vocalizing it, and you know that one, his message is wrong, and two, he's somebody who's supposed to be a leader of influence as well.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no, take your time. We got all night.
So it's a little intense, but almost it's like 1:30 almost. So first and foremost, actually, I'm gonna tell them I appreciate the fact that they're being honest. One,
Yep.
straight up,
Yeah.
because it's not easy to flow. I mean, for some people it is because they're just fucking assholes and negative Nancy's. But for the negative Nancy, that shit is crazy.
I
I'm
use
definitely
that
getting
term all the
old.
time. No, I use that
But
term. Well, yeah, there you go.
It's not always easy to express how you truly feel about something, especially to somebody who's helped trying to lead you, guide you, or whatever, that could go back and has constant communication with higher leaders to be like, yo, this person is not fucking getting it. So I'm like, I appreciate your feelings, right? We're not always on board with change that happens. I get it. But here's the biggest thing. Because that person became a leader for some reason. But most people become leaders because they want, obviously, money. But somewhere deep inside of them, they want to help people grow. You don't become a leader unless you want to lead people to success. And so I remember you shared this message with me. It's like, you have to understand the influence that you have on other people. And when you show up that way, people are going to feed off of that. And so just because you don't agree with something, that's okay if you don't agree with something. But at the end of the day, this is what you're getting paid to do. So you got to figure something out because other people are feeding off of that. And all it's going to do is going to come back. It's going to bite you. So what do you want? Do you want to deal with it now and get over your feelings and figure out how can we move this forward? Or do you want to deal with it later when all the shit has already happened? Your performance is low, so now all eyes are on you. And then you got to try to get it to turn around. And then people are going to question you like, why is shit sweet now?
Yeah.
Right? Why is shit all good now? I mean, we've had situations like that, right? Where it's like, wait a minute, we wasn't on board with it, but now we're on board with it. Like, make up your fucking mind, guy. Do you want your brand to be inconsistency? Or do you want your brand to be something that's like, you know what? Team player. Even though I don't necessarily want or like whatever we're doing, this is what I'm being asked to do. There's merit in it. And just because I don't potentially agree with it doesn't mean that it's wrong. So are you able to check yourself, humble yourself, and say, you know what, this is what I'm being asked to do. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to lead that way. I'm going to teach my people to be that way.
Wow.
And that's it.
This guy's good, man.
Come on, man.
That's another thing, too. I appreciate you saying that because right? Well, I would say the majority of people I ask will not say thank them for their honesty, right? And I always tell people, I just had this conversation with someone else because they was talking about politics, and it's so easy when you have two different sides. It's easy for them to argue, and it becomes a thing, right? I actually even seen a Facebook post of somebody saying they unfriended them because they had a difference in opinion, which is, to me, it's crazy, but whatever.
Insane.
Right? You can have a difference in opinion. People are entitled to how they feel and how you made them feel. I tell them that all the time. Right? If I made you upset, Matt, right? Because I said something that I had no intention on making you upset, I don't have the right to be like, you shouldn't be upset. Who am I to be like, yo, you shouldn't be upset? Even if I was joking and I meant no ill will towards you, so that's why I'm feeling. I can't disregard how I made you feel.
Right.
I would want. In fact, what you should do is be like, all right, Matt. If you care about the person, tell me what I said made you feel that way,
right?
So I can understand and not do that again in the future. Right?
Fact.
But and even if I was joking, I still feel I was not in the wrong. I think the better person in me should do that because I wouldn't want to disrespect you or make you feel any type of way other than, any negative type of feelings, right? I wouldn't want to do that as a friend. So, but I tell people, because it's always like, oh, we was talking about this, and then they told me I pissed them off, but how did I piss them off? It doesn't matter how. I mean, it does matter how, but at the same time, that's what they felt. Like, you can't take that away. And I remember in this conversation, it was a leader that said, you shouldn't feel that way, or that's not the perspective that you should have, which is okay, but I do. So now what? Like, where do we end up at the end of this conversation? And that's another thing. People always end up in these conversations, and it's like, okay, but what do you want out of it? Before you even go into this conversation, what do you want out of it? Do you want this person to understand? It could be anything, right? Do you want them to understand how you're feeling? Do you want them to understand what the procedure is? Do you want this, right? Have some kind of thought process of what the outcome is so you can put your tactics in place that helps navigate to that, right? So people just go in these things blind and
that's wisdom though. And that's why I think it's so important, like because it's pretty obvious to realize when you say something that sets somebody off. Because you could just tell, especially if you're observant. Like it doesn't need to be something that they verbally say, but you could tell in their body language. Like some people, when you deliver something, they just shut down. You can see it, right? They're not looking directly at you. They're not as engaged. You can tell in their body language, right? And so it's like,
for those who don't know, body language is a huge part of communication.
Huge, so huge, especially when you're working with people who struggle with confidence, especially with people like that, because the moment they're like it's like a balloon. They got a lot of air in them. They're feeling good, and the moment a little bit of that air lets out, because they know what it feels to be deflated, it's like, oh, here it comes again, right? And they'll just check out because they're trying to keep as much air in that balloon as they can. And so it's so critical to pay attention to those things. And like you said, if something happens, don't try to fix some shit right away, because you're not gonna have a plan. Your only plan is like to fix it. But how the fuck are you gonna fix it? You don't know. It's like saying there's a problem. I got a leak. I got a leak somewhere, and then you don't even go look for it. You just go buy shit to fix the leak, but you got no clue what's causing the leak. What happened?
Yo, you just said something. So somebody showed me a video recently. It was a video that taught the difference between empathy and sympathy, right? And the video was like the reason why the video was even brought up, because I talked about how we wanted to do like an animation for our show. So
I know exactly what video you're talking about.
Oh, you do? With the and he reaches down in the hole.
In the hole, yep.
Yo, so that video was wild, bro. And it's like, I forgot what the thing is, but it's like, yo, I forgot do you remember what the situation was?
Yeah,
she was sad.
It was like two animals. One of them fell in the hole, and then the sympathy was like, "Man, I feel so bad for you being down in there." But here's the silver lining. I think it was like raining or something. It's like, at least you're not getting super wet like I am being out here. You're trying to paint a silver lining around the cloud. Where empathy is like, I've been in that situation before.
Yeah,
I know exactly what that feels like, and here's how you can get out of there. This is what I did to get out of there.
Or even something so, and we do it, right? We do this. It's just it's almost ingrained in a lot of us, where someone will be like, "Yeah, my so and so just passed," and you'll be like, "Damn, I'm sorry," or "My condolences," or something like that. But even that is almost like
thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, it's like where it's like, "Thank you for the good response was, thank you for sharing that with me. Like, I appreciate you trusting me to share that with me, and I'm here for you," type of thing.
Right. Where sympathy would be like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, at least they're not in any pain anymore."
It's
like drawing the silver lining around the cloud, but the silver lining doesn't change the fact that the dark cloud is there. That person's gone. Right. It doesn't remove the pain that you have. Yeah, that's just a nice thing to
I'm glad you
say.
seen that video, bro.
So, when I became an instructional designer, it was like one of the, I'm not sure it was part of onboarding or training, but like everybody had to watch that video.
That's
but
crazy.
I think it paints like it paints a very vivid picture of it, because
Yeah.
we don't realize how many times we do that, where it's like, well, it could always be worse, right?
Yeah,
It could always be this. I mean, at least you're not like this. At least this didn't happen.
Yeah, it
Where
could be worse is one.
It's the silver lining thing, instead of like, nah, I understand. I get it, right? Like, I get it. I get what it's like to be in the mud. I get it.
Yeah.
And the good news is there's a way out. And on top of that, I'm here to help you get out. I'm not just going to be like, dang, that sucks, but at least this happened. I'm not going to try to point the positives in your situation. I'm like, listen, you're in the mud. That is what it is. Now let's work on a plan to get you out. That's what empathy is.
Yo, you know what that video reminded me of when I watched it? When you was like, yeah, we could do the show in like 45 minutes. I'm about to go eat dinner with my family. And I was like, oh, at least you got dinner. At least you got a family.
And he's like, don't brag. You got people to eat it with.
Yeah. That's what that shit reminded me of, man. Yeah. I think this was a good episode. Real shit. If this is what I would love. I would love the engagement of you, the listeners, who I know you guys are paying attention because I see it. And it's a lot of people who, like, when I'm around, like, they're pretty vocal. So give us some questions and give us some engagement. We need this, guys. I'm tired of talking to this guy all the time about things I already know about him, things that he knows about me, other than the fact that he didn't know I was Irish.
I had no clue.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because so am I.
You're not fucking Irish.
I got a pot of gold right over there.
Oh my god. Yo,
I'm about to go eat corned beef and cabbage.
Corned beef is fire, bro.
Yo, corned beef is fire, but cabbage is not.
Nah, but if it's most corned beef, I'm assuming it's cooked in a crock pot. At least what I've had. So when it's in the crock pot with the beef and all the seasonings, cabbage is fire.
Bro, the best corned beef I've ever had, Cad's Deli. They got a corned beef sandwich.
Oh, you had it from there?
Yeah, and I had a pastrami too.
That's crazy.
Ridiculous.
That's crazy. I made one last year. I think it was last year.
A whole corned beef?
Yeah, I made one for St. Patty's Day.
That's crazy.
It came out pretty good too.
You know what's funny is, like, we never did anything like that. Like, when it came to like holidays and shit like that. Like, I think the most traditional thing we've ever done is like this Thanksgiving where you have a turkey, you got ham. Because like I don't think there's anyone in my family that really likes turkey. To be honest with you,
turkey's good.
We're not huge fans of it, but we always have turkey.
Ham? You like ham?
And we always have ham. No, man, my grandma would make pernil. I like pernil.
Oh yeah, pernil's fire.
I love that. We'd always have rice, right? Wild Puerto Rican. So everybody would eat the Puerto Rican food. Be like, and so like the turkey and the ham.
You're lying, bro. You just said earlier you was over there gulping glizzies down. So you know you had one.
I ain't from the UK.
4th of July, you turning up.
4th of July, I turned into the Glizzy Gladiator.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I think that's dope. You know what I like about it?
A pack of Nathans don't want to see me coming.
You know what that tells me is that you guys are very uncultured.
Nah, bro, we was fucking with it. We was like, yo, we remember the sacrifice that the Native Americans made when Europeans came over with the fucking diseases.
Nah, I'm talking about. I think that's the dope part about it, right? I think that even when we do these things for like heritage months and stuff, like I think it's dope that you can have a dish or something of that culture, and it opens you up to things. So shout out to all the people who's open minded for like new foods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's fucking.
I don't know. Well, I just remember every time we do the potluck, and Erica would always bring that dry ass fucking chicken, and I'm like, this ain't Puerto Rican food. Don't disrespect our culture like that.
Nah.
You know what I mean?
Nah. The mac and cheese. You wasn't there for the mac and cheese.
Shout out to Erica. Nah, James used to bring mac and cheese, right?
Nah, James mac and cheese be cooking. Fine. No, you missed out on. the mac and cheese propaganda was fucking insane, bro. I'll talk about. I'm not gonna put them out there because I still fuck with this person. I don't want to tarnish their mac and cheese skills.
Yo,
I can't do it.
That shit belonged in a bin. It belonged in the bin.
I gotta get permission. Belonged in the bin. I didn't even give Scooby any of this mac and cheese.
Listen, I was there when we had what? It was some like Filipino wings or whatever. Was that what it was? When I was at your crib, remember that when me and my dad pulled up, and it was like, yo, because it was around Thanksgiving time. A little bit after Thanksgiving, the like food, like Filipino wing. I'm like,
it was the lumpia.
Oh, it was a lumpia. Yeah. I'm like, yo, this shit is disgraceful.
Yeah, he was hating.
Nah, I wasn't hating, bro.
He was hating.
I wasn't hating.
Or it could have been because it was leftovers. Because that shit was good.
Nah. I'm not hating. Listen.
It's from an authentic Filipino.
Trust me.
This guy traveled to the Philippines and now he's a connoisseur.
Trust me. I'm not even. Listen. When people are like, if you like, yo, what's the best Filipino food? And someone says lumpia, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. That's first and foremost.
I think lumpia is probably my favorite.
Yeah, you see.
The chicken adobo's fire.
Adobo's fire. Sinigang, fire.
Yeah, I don't know this.
Tinola, fire. Okay. Caldereta, fire. Goat caldereta. Beef caldereta is good too, but goat caldereta, I had it at my wedding. Actually. Fire. So listen, you want to know how Filipino? I'm not Filipino at all, but how much I love Filipino food. At my wedding, we got Filipino food catered from
Bumble.
No, what's that shit?
Beef? What's that beef spot?
Jollibee? Fucking Bumble's a dating app, bro. I'm definitely on no dating app when I'm getting married. He's trying to get me hot. That should never happen. Number one.
That's funny.
Wallingford. That shit like an hour away. There's this little hole in the wall spot. It's a Filipino store, but in the back they got a restaurant called Kayumangi. The store's name's Kayumangi. Our wedding was catered by those folks. We had to drive an hour the day before the wedding to get all the food and all these trays and shit, bro. Okay? So when I tell you I know Filipino food, this shit is not a fucking game. Okay? So when I was like, yo, this lumpia is I wasn't being a hater. That's what the shit is. I'm with the shits. All I'm saying is if you're like, yo, lumpia, no.
What other holidays do we celebrate other cultures for their food? Or like, I fucked that up, right? Because we don't celebrate St. Patty's for their food, but we tend to eat that corned beef around St. Patty's Day.
I know Cinco de Mayo. That's a popular one.
Yo, speaking of which, your dad be texting me, yo, Quan, I think there's a good deal over here for like some good bourbon and shit. So I went and popped out and looked at.
Listen, man.
What he has sent me.
He's on it. He's on it all the time. He's always. I'm not gonna say he's always drinking because my dad is. I don't want to make it sound like my dad's an alcoholic because he's not. Yeah. But like one thing I noticed that now that they got no kids in the house, they're rich now. They always be splurging on shit.
Yeah.
The other day, he'd be like, "What watch should I buy myself?" I'm like, "Excuse me."
Oh, big time now.
Excuse me. But he's always drinking. He's always got something. Because they got a liquor. I mean, you've been at my parents' house. They got a liquor cabinet. When I was over there, so obviously we drank at your crib. And I already shut down the show. That was a fire experience. It's like going to your own personal Total Wines and More.
Yeah,
but like But like every bottle's a story.
Yeah.
Which is, that shit right there is like, it made me appreciate the drink for more than just it being a drink.
Correct.
Right? Because it's like,
correct.
There's a whole, like, I found myself, after I bought that bottle of the Old Forester 1910, I'm over here reading about it. I'm like, the reason why it's so smoky is because apparently there's a fire or some shit like that. And
that's fire.
And encourage them to like put this shit to age in like super charred barrels. Because in memory and remembrance of that, and that's why it has like a smoky flavor, which I wish I would have read up on that before I bought it because I'm not a big smoker. the flavor is good. The flavor actually is really good.
Yeah.
But like, it made me appreciate that shit because it's like it's not just like we're gonna do whatever the fuck we want. There's science and there's history to all this shit.
Yeah.
So that was a fire experience. But there was a night where we each bought a bottle, and it was just me and him drinking, bro. And we was up to like 5 a.m., bro.
Yeah.
Just
see, just to bring it back before we end the show, because we talked about regretting some of those moments of getting smacked, but your moments is completely different, and those are the moments that you'll always cherish. Like,
hell yeah.
40 years from now, you're gonna think about that time with your dad when you both got a bottle and you guys got smacked, or the time you guys came here and we talked about different stories. That's what got me into the bourbon thing too, was like the stories behind it. It's just like the cigars. I love a good story behind a cigar because a lot of them come from something. Like,
right.
There's a cigar that I'm going to go get tomorrow that I've been dying to try and have in my collection, which is like it's called the Purple Eater. And it's because the soil looks so purple, they called it that. Because it's around like volcanic areas.
Volcanic ash shit.
From what I was reading up on. So I'll look a little bit more into it. But the point is that, usually every cigar has a really good story behind it. And the same thing with bourbon, right? And the dope shit about that is now you can have a story behind that when you're doing it, right? So like the story behind Eagle Rare was they have their story, but your story is, I tried that at Quan's house and it was a good night when my dad there, and we were just talking about hip hop and all these things. And
everything.
That's your story, but now for Eagle Rare. You know what I'm saying?
Damn. But let me wrap the show here. Appreciate everybody as always tuning into the show. Share, like, comment, subscribe wherever you're listening. And as always, think critically, speak infamously.
We out.
We out. What